Rebecca Hanna. Her qualification is that she writes. Her degree is in philosophy and education. 30 years ago, she wrote and illustrated for some children's magazines. More recently, a dozen of her journals enjoyed wide circulation in the form of smoke, ash, and possibly some of that recycled paper you use for your own writing. A year ago, she joined the St. Charles Writers Group to keep herself from starting more of those fires. Rebecca?
Hello. A postcard just wasn't big enough. So, this is what I wrote for you. I have an anecdote, or a set of anecdotes that are kind of spilling the beans on my family, and then I have a little poem. I come by it naturally. Books are my family. If we staged a family reunion, it would end up all the way down to Earth's magma from the weight of us all. True story. To move from upstate New York to Bartlett, Illinois, my self-reliant parents rented a U-Haul truck, not for furniture. They had little enough of the hand-me-down version, but for at least 100 boxes of books. Theology, philosophy, a box or two of enthusiasms on hold, bookbinding, genealogy, calligraphy, photography, and my mother's boxes of art books. Around Ohio, there was a funny smell and a rough ride. The melted demise of tires. All of them. After a night in an auto shop, they resumed the move, Ohio to Bartlett, at 30 miles an hour. Another true story. My sister answered her third-floor Chicago apartment door to the Peapod grocery delivery man. He set the bags down, and when he looked up, he gasped in his Indian accent, "Ooh, you have a whole library in your apartment." Another true story. When I visited my parents in New York, the big trip to Manhattan started at a bookstore, used several stories. I expected the usual travelogue type hosting and companionship, not to be had. My father grabbed a grocery cart and took off. We didn't see him again for more than an hour. He had a masonite board, still does at the age of 89. It fit across his knees when he sat in his easy chair. When I was little, it was a green naugahyde recliner, angled in front of a floor-to-ceiling wall of books on cheap shelves put together like an erector set. I used to crawl behind that chair to read his frayed old Boy Scout manual, especially the first aid parts. When I was a little older, I got initiated into the masonite board ritual and had to promise I would never break the back of a new book. It goes like this. Place the spine of the book securely against the center of the board. Pull down the cover flat against the board. Press the fingers of the left hand close to the gutter and rub down from top to bottom, then bottom to top with a consistent, firm pressure. Do the same for the back cover with the right hand. Pull down the end papers, verso first, then recto, and apply the same pressure. After that, you can fold down bundles of 5 or 6 pages, alternating sides until you reach the center. If possible, the true center, where you can see the stitching. That done, the book is considered opened. Not long ago, I actually did this to a new book against my knees on the commuter train. A good way to get the whole seat to yourself. My mother is a co-conspirator of a different sort, possibly traumatized by walls of books squeezing in on her, not unlike the Edgar Allan Poe story. She indulges her constant reading on a Kindle, free books only, preferably the complete works of. She has finished Dickens and has moved on to George MacDonald. These are not formatted for easy navigation. She is minimally adept at technology, so losing her place is a tragedy. She can't seem to master bookmarking or the go-to feature. She sits and thumbs the page turn button, single page by single page. The one on the right side is so worn it doesn't work half the time. My daughter, too, has a wall of books in her tiny Rogers Park apartment. Rough neighborhood, but who steals books? It's difficult to carry on a conversation with her there. Something in me keeps on reading book titles while I'm talking. I am not without scars from the family book disease. Binge purge is my version. Bring a stack of new books into the house, feel guilty, scan my shelves for anything I can take to the used bookstore, come back with more. Unlike my father, the ones I haven't read would fill only a single shelf, except for the ones he gave me when he downsized to the retirement home. Those are waiting for a trip to the used bookstore after I'm sure he stopped going there. Each generation carries with it some of the sins of the fathers, and I hope a bit of evolutionary progress. But please, don't ask me how many books I have stored on the cloud in cyberspace. And then just a little metaphor for you to take with you, as soon as I find it, in the form of a poem. It's entitled, "It Is Written." Words well up in your eyes from pages you have turned, overflowing your lidded vision, drenching your lashes, glistening down your face, tears finding their way back to the ocean.